Scot Turner? I don't know Scot Turner.
Sounds familiar, but I don't know who it is.
Scot Turner? What is he? You said he was state senate?
Scot Turner's my neighbor.
I know Scot Turner through baseball.
I know Scot Turner from church. I go to Watermark Church off Sixes Road, and Scott and I met there about 3.5 years ago when he and I joined a community group, and we've been friends ever since.
I met Scot Turner 4 years ago at a precinct committee meeting.
Scot Turner is my husband. We met in high school. I was a cashier at Winn-Dixie and he was my bagger, and we started talking one day.
Scot Turner is a man of faith. One thing that I've respected a lot about Scott actually is his faith. Over the past several years, Scott and I have obviously met every week, and we've discussed different issues from family to personal life to business, and every one of those situations, what stood out is Scott, he really weighs God's will on every decision that he makes.
Family is very important to Scott. It's his #1 priority.
I think the biggest thing that comes to my attention as far as knowing Scot Turner and that is outstanding is his character. He's a fair person, he's knowledgeable.
Scott is very loving as a father. He loves to be with his children, plays with them, he gets very excited when they do things for the first time.
Scott is very honest. If you ask Scott for advice, it's going to be a solid advice. It's, you know, he doesn't have the gray area that some people seem to work in. It was either right or wrong.
I think Scott's always serving others.
One of the funniest things, or the greatest things I remember about Scott was the Miracle League here in Cherokee County, where, you know, disabled kids and or kids with learning disabilities got to go out and play baseball. Well, Scott was one of the guys there that would stand next to the kids, help them play baseball, and just had a time of their lives.
Scott will do just about whatever he can for anyone.
Scott loves to serve others. Anytime I've ever asked Scott to help me out with anything, Scott's been more than willing to come over at any time.
Scot Turner has participated in many events. Last year we had a barbecue. He was very active at that barbecue fundraiser for the Republican Party.
I think Scott's always serving others.
I've overheard him at work when he talks to some people who, whether it's personal or business, he's always trying to help. For instance, recently there was a engineer who had to drive cross country at night, and I overheard him say that he would be willing to stay up all night and talk to him on the phone to help him get there. So he's always trying to find a way to help others around him.
In the church and all the events that I've ever attended, he's been very active.
And passion for the community, passion for politics, passion to do the right thing.
I realized Scott had a real big passion for politics, and not so much politics as it was his passion for the rights of citizens, you know, in their local community. And one thing I learned from him that I didn't know before, being a passive follower of politics, was that lobbyists could give any amount of contributions or gifts to different legislatures to try to help persuade the way they vote.
Scot Turner will provide an avenue of ethics that we've not seen before, and that's already starting to occur. You can feel it in the wind that Scott has generated an aura of people looking around at what they're doing ethically that are in politics right now and that are elected officials.
Scot Turner is fighting for ethics reform.
Scot Turner is fighting for ethics reform.
Scot Turner's fighting for ethics reform, as I think everybody should.
If you don't know that Scot Turner is fighting for ethics reform, then you don't know who Scot Turner is.
Scott's great.